Okay, so I see the first people are starting to join in. Hello and welcome to this event in partnership with Middlesex University Dubai. So while we are still waiting for everyone to connect, I would like to first of all thank all of you for joining us for this event. So for the moment being, we are experiencing some technical issue on the university side, but I urge you to please be patient. We'll start shortly. I was thinking maybe in the meantime, you can write us in the chat where you are joining us from so that we can get to know you a little bit better. And of course, if you want to specify which program you are interested in studying at Middlesex, we'd be glad to take that into consideration as well. We have been joined by a spokesperson on behalf of Middlesex. So hello and welcome, and thank you for being here with us tonight. We bought some time for the participants, and hopefully everyone will be able to ask their questions and just to dive deep into the programs offered by Middlesex. So once again, welcome and thank you for your presence here.
Hi, sorry about the delay. We just had some technical issues. We're also simultaneously running a postgrad evening on campus today. So all of that led to this, but I'm just going to share my screen real quick so I can talk you through what Middlesex has to offer. Please let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see it. Thank you.
So my name is Afrin. I work at the Student Recruitment Office. We do deal with international and domestic students. I'm going to talk a little bit about Middlesex, and in the meantime, feel free to type in any of your questions and I'll address all of them towards the end of the presentation. So obviously it's important to know a little bit about who we are and what do we offer. So we are a quality UK degree with a 5-star rated higher education classification from the KHDA, and the KHDA is a local authority who runs these classifications in combination with the QS. We've got 4 campuses around the world, of course, our head or home campus being in London. We've got our secondary campus here in Dubai. We've got one in Malta and Mauritius. I'm representing the Dubai campus today, but you can take a transfer to any of our campuses internationally as well. We have a large global alumni network spanning across 190,000 plus alumni. Currently in the UAE, we've got over 3,500 students, along with their diversity being over 100 different nationalities. We do offer 5 different foundation pathway programs, along with 32 undergraduate programs, 39 postgraduate programs, and 11 different MBA pathways. These are just some of the awards we've received in the past few years. We were awarded Best Media Center in 2019 by Forbes Middle East. We're University of the Year as per the Dubai Links in 2019, Dubai International University, MENA. So we're the best international university in the MENA region as per the European. We did receive an iStudy Award as University of the Year. We are the only university in the Middle East that offers Black Magic Design certification, and we're the first and the only university in the UAE to offer a face-to-face LLB British Qualifying Law degree. I think there is another university that now also offers an LLB degree. I'm not 100% sure, but we were the first to introduce it in the region. We are the first and only university in the UAE to have, as a private university, to have 2 campuses. So one is in Dubai Knowledge Park, which is where I am today. And we've got a secondary campus in Dubai International Academic City, which is very, very close to our student accommodation. So when you're talking about the International Foundation Program, this is dependent on what kind of curriculum you may come from. If you come from, let's say, the British curriculum and you've only done your AS levels, you can opt for the International Foundation Program. If you come from the American curriculum, you may have to do the foundation program as well. And obviously I can go on, but a lot of the universities or a lot of the schooling systems internationally get accepted into the International Foundation Program. And then you join or progress onto an undergraduate degree where you take 3 years. So in total, you're looking at 4 years. Obviously, the pathways are designed in line with the schools that we run here. So you can opt for a business pathway, a law and politics pathway, arts and media, psychology, engineering and computer informatics. I'll get into the details further as well. So on your screens right now, you should be able to see a list of our undergraduate programs. Please take note of anything you may be specifically interested in, and then we can have a Q&A specifically around that. The business program or the business school itself has an accounting and finance program. It also has a BSc in accounting. We obviously run a general business management program along with an international tourism management degree. We also run different pathways within the business management program. We also do teach international business and marketing. Art and design has a graphic design and fashion design program. Health and education only covers early childhood studies or education studies. Science and tech is a makeup of our psychology and IT programs. Along with the electronic engineering program, we are now looking at introducing cybersecurity this academic year. So you can opt for a BSc in IT, a business information systems program, or you can do an engineering degree in 3 years' time. And if you have to do the foundation program, then you're looking at 4 years' time. Psychology is offered with different specializations. You can opt for human resource management, tasking skills, marketing, education, criminology. The program is 75% psychology and 25% whatever you wish to specialize in. Like I said, we have one of the best law programs in the country. And with that being said, we offer that as a general degree, but also with different specializations ranging from international relations, commercial law, criminology. And we are a really big destination for students who are looking at creative programs. So this comes under our media school. It could be PR advertising and branding. It can be film, it can be digital media, or creative writing and journalism. If you're here for PG programs specifically, again, we run loads of things under our business school, ranging from MSc Banking, MSc Investment Management, MA Human Resource Management and Development, to an MA in International Business Management, or an MSc in Corporate and Marketing Communications, Digital Marketing, Strategic Marketing, MAIR, which is an MA in International Relations, which is actually a part of our law program. The MBA has 11 different pathways, and with science and tech, we offer very exciting programs ranging from engineering management to cybersecurity or MSc Applied Psych. Data science is something that's really picked up the pace within the region, as so has the network management and cloud computing. Within our health and education program, we do offer MA education, but unfortunately, that's only an option for domestic students, because one of the requirements of the program is to have access to a classroom, and you need to be in a teaching environment within the UAE. Within our law program, we teach our MA Global Governance and Sustainable Development, the MAIR, as I mentioned, along with different LLM specializations. So this could be international business law, international law, or just a general LLM degree. We do offer scholarships and grants ranging from 15 to 50%, depending on the curriculum you may come from, depending on the program you're applying for. If you're applying domestically or even internationally, we might have a school partnership with your school. The early enrollment grant used to be 5,000, but currently it's running at 4,250 for international applicants, as mentioned here, which is valid till the 27th of June. We obviously do run transportation services if you choose to come down in the UAE and live outside our accommodation, but if you're at the accommodation, then we do offer transport as well. You can find out more about our student activities or our student experience at WeAreMDX. You can also simply scan this QR code, which would give you a breakdown or an overview of what it is that we offer. We run loads and loads of social clubs, which are run by the students for the students, and the whole idea is to allow students to take on leadership roles since the very beginning. If there's a club that you don't see here, you can always propose it and we can bring it on. We don't charge you anything for these services. It's all inclusive of your tuition fee. So are the sports clubs. So if cultural things or social things aren't your cup of tea, you can always look at our sports clubs. We run training sessions with professionals at professional training grounds twice a week, every week. Once again, we don't charge you anything for it. You benefit off these more if you're an undergraduate student, because chances are you don't have classes running in the evening. We also have a Center for Academic Success, which is here to help you in your academic enrichment. So you can simply talk to them about maybe your struggles with time management. You can talk to them about how to go about certain generic topics. You can also just, drop in with them and have a check-in. A lot of times international students might feel homesick, or they might just be, feeling a little bit of culture shock. So you can always go down and talk to them about these things and they'll assist you. We do, of course, look at, welfare for under 18 students, or just students getting into the country and going through, being homesick or being away from family and friends. We do have support services available for declared learning disabilities for students. So let's say if the students got dyslexia, for example, and they need a little more time on their exams, we can assist with that. We do offer academic counseling services for these students as well. And we, like I said, we can arrange exam conditions as per your requirements. We obviously have a careers and employability service, which aims to have students be 100% employable. We do these through, internship and employability opportunities. We've got a career portal, so once you register with us, you'll have access to all the upcoming recruitment opportunities you have. We do CV review sessions, mock interview sessions, guest speaker sessions, so you can build your networks earlier on. Of course, we also have a role in career counseling, and we run career days specific to the program you've enrolled in. So business school has its own career day, the law school has its own, psych has its own, and so on. These are just some of the industry partners we work with. So Emirates NBD is a bank in the UAE, very well known. Of course, you may or may not recognize the other names: Microsoft, DHL, Emaar, Dell, Emirates, and so on. But these are just some of the people that we work with. We have a network that's grown across the last 17 years that we've been in the UAE, and it continues to grow with our students and alumni. The application process is really simple with us. You simply jump on our website and create an account. You fill out 4 specific details about you. So it's your personal details, you select the program you're interested in, you provide us with some academic history, confirm that all the information is correct, and hit submit. Once you submit your application with sufficient documents, we can get back to you in 24 to 48 hours. If you're applying for the undergraduate program, then we need your high school certificate and transcripts, along with the English condition to be met, as well as your personal statement, 2 letters of recommendation letter, passport copy, and if you're a UE resident, then we need that along with the Emirates ID, along with your CV. If you are a postgraduate student, we need all of those documents along with your bachelor's degree and transcripts. So the way it works is once you place an application, you would then move on to make an initial deposit of 3,000, submit any pending documents, and then we'd start the application for your visa, which usually starts 60 days prior to your arrival, or 60 days prior to the university's classes starting, which is September 19th this year. You can then, once all of those things are done, you can book your place at the student accommodation, and we can assist you further with anything else or any other query that you may have. That's mostly it from my end. I can see there are some questions in the chat box. I can see there are some Q&A segments as well, so I will be referring to those. We've got
Yes, we do have a couple of questions, and thank you, Afrin. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, for your presentation. For the moment being, we have 3 questions. I would like participants to continue writing their questions in the Q&A box, so anything related to the academic offering, the student life, the scholarships, and the extracurricular opportunities as well, if you'd like. We'll be more than happy to help you and to give you an overall idea of what Middlesex has to offer. So to get to the questions, so we have a participant from Bangladesh. They're currently studying a BSc in computer science and engineering, and they are in their final semester. They are asking about the qualifications needed to do a Master of Science in Data Science.
So with those qualifications, if you come from an IT background, that should be a possibility. They just need to place an application with us, and then we can tell them what scholarships they'll be entitled to and how this would work. There would be some conversations around the visa process for them specifically, but their admission counselor can address those with them.
Perfect. Thank you so much. They are also asking about what are the overall expenses to study in Dubai.
So obviously, as an international applicant, you would look at the tuition fee along with your living cost, which is the accommodation. If I talk about the student accommodation, it's quite affordable as per UAE standards, because one of our most affordable options at the accommodation is a twin share, which is for 2,000 dirhams per month. And because you pay the cost monthly, so in case you're traveling for the winter break or you're away for the summer break, you don't need to adhere to the cost. Along with that, visa charges can be a thing, but we do try and subsidize the cost because we'll give you an international study grant. And then it would roughly what you're paying is just the tuition fee, more or less. Along with that, if you're doing the program for 2 years, you might have a renewal charges for the visa. Because the visa is only valid for 1 academic year. Aside from that, food is something that students would spend on, because if you're talking about just the accommodation, the 2,000 dirhams covers your laundry, it covers your security. Of course, there's a library service around the accommodation as well. You've got access to their swimming pool, their gym facilities. We don't charge you anything extra for those things. You've got access to a VR gaming space, so you've got access to leisure activities as well. The only cost additional that you might be paying for would be your food, which again varies because some people opt for junk food, some people opt to cook at the accommodation itself, some people opt for meal plans, which can vary from 300 dirhams to 400 dirhams per month. So it really depends on the kind of lifestyle the student's looking for. Within the accommodation fees is the transportation charges, so we don't charge you anything extra for that, at least when you're talking about traveling between the university to campus. On the weekends, there's a bus that takes you to the grocery store, so you don't really pay for that because there is a bus that's available. So if you need to just get some basic necessities, you can do that there as well.
Thank you so much for the thorough information. So we do have another question, a participant joining us from Gambia. He or she is interested in an MA in Human Resources Management and Development. They are asking if you offer any scholarships for this particular course.
Yeah, so at the PG level, we don't offer merit-based scholarships, but we do offer international study grants. So as soon as the student applies with us, automatically they'll be granted an international study grant. I'm not sure of the percentage, to be very honest with you, because this varies between regions. But as long as the student places an application, which again, we don't charge you anything for, the admission counselor will add on the scholarship. They can share an estimated payment plan with students because we don't expect you to make the full payment in one go. We have a quarterly plan for international students, and we try and simplify things for them.
Thank you so much, Afrin. So in the meantime, while we are waiting for some more questions, I would like to ask you if you can maybe perhaps give us some more information on whether or not the students can expect to be able to work during their studies, and if yes, so in which domains?
Yes, that's a very good question, because I think there's a lot of myths around working in the GCC while you're studying, especially the UAE. So even though the university may be sponsoring your visa, you can work internships and also certain full-time roles as long as they're within the work policies of the country. We can offer you an NOC, which is a no objection certificate that allows you to work certain roles. Our careers team works with you to guide you in the right direction to make sure that you're not violating any laws. The laws are mostly to protect students, so they're not exploited. So there's a certain number of hours that you can work in a week that you need to adhere to, because we don't want workplaces kind of taking advantage of our students. Especially when you're an international student, you may not know what the legal system is, how it works, things like that. So we guide you through that process. But yes, we do have a lot of students internationally and domestically who work and study at the same time. A lot of times there are opportunities for students to work on campus itself. This could be with the international recruitment team. This could be in the admissions office, the marketing team, student activities. You could also just earn some money by volunteering for the university itself.
Thank you so much. So I do want to invite participants. So once again, thanking them for their presence. I would like to invite all of you to just write your questions in the Q&A box. If you have any, we'll be happy to help and just give you more insight into the available programs, into the student lifestyle in Dubai. So what can you expect in terms of the day-to-day life? So to say on that, I was wondering, Afrin, if you can maybe give us some information on what the typical day of a Middlesex student looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's start talking about the undergraduate program. We'll start with that. So a typical day in an undergraduate student's life could look as simply getting up in the morning, getting dressed, catching a bus from their accommodation to the campus. This does not necessarily have to be at 8:30 in the morning. This can be very well at 10 a.m. Because the schedule is very flexible when it comes to the timetable. And some students, while they might have an 8 a.m. class, a lot of them do start slightly later in the day. A lot of times the schedule allows you to have gaps between your classes. So let's say you might attend your first class at 10, you might have a break for 2 hours followed by another class at 12:30. The idea is that in between these breaks, you can jump into the library, work on any assignments you might have, or work on preparing for the next class. The whole concept is that we want you to have a study-life balance, or a work-life balance as we call it as well, which allows you to not only have your weekends as weekends where you're taking time off, but having gaps during your day also allow you to kind of just refresh yourself, rejuvenate. You don't need to be stuck in class for 8 hours just to get your academics straight. A lot of these students who also work part-time might go to their work during those 2 hours and come back, because we're very closely linked to a metro station, which means that the city becomes very accessible to students. Luckily, I know UAE is known for hot summers, but your classes run from September up until May, which is prime time in the UAE, because temperatures are as good as 24 to 26 degrees on a daily. There's a nice little breeze, so you might actually just be taking those 2 hours to walk around campus. You can also spend time in the gym while you're here, or at the student accommodation before you get down here. And if you are, again, when you're done with your classes, you catch a bus back to the student accommodation, which is usually when a lot of our students go through their workout or just sit with group study sessions and kind of just enjoy their time. We're very flexible on the curfew situation at the accommodation, which means that you can host your friends outside of Middlesex on at the accommodation as well. And you will have an interaction to network with a lot of other people from other universities. The other thing is that if, let's say if you're a postgrad student, so you can work during the daytime and you will only have your class run from 6:30 to 9:30 in the evening, which means you've got loads of time during the day to either, if you're employed, then you can work. If you're not employed, you can be hanging around campus, spending time working on your assignments and things like that. But Dubai, as a tourist destination and the location that the university is at, there's so much you can do during the daytime and then come into your classroom, or vice versa, where international students in general have a really fun time. I always thought that it was the UG students who had a good time, but I've discovered recently that it's our postgrad international students who have their best time.
How so, if you don't mind me asking? What makes the experience different?
Well, I think because they've got accessibility to, one, be able to network with a lot of people. Postgrad students in general tend to be a little more confident in carrying themselves out as opposed to undergrad. And when they travel outside or away from family, it's easier for them to kind of settle in. So they tend to make the most out of their experience. It could be for a year, it could be for 2 years, but they're really putting themselves out there. A lot of them easily land jobs as well because they bring in international experience with them. When it comes to your undergrad students, they usually spend the first year in kind of like in a shell where they're trying to just get used to the culture. They're a little shy, they're a little scared. But when you spend that 1 year here, and you're also really young at that age, so by the time you get here and you're used to Dubai, and you realize how secure it is, how safe it is as a destination, when your parents stop worrying about you because they know you're in one of the safest cities in the world, that's kind of when it kicks in. So they tend to spend their first year just settling in, but by second year, they realize how much fun they can be having or all the possibilities they have open to them. And that's when they kind of kick in and get on the touristy side of UAE.
Thank you so much, Afreen. That was very clear and concise. So I see that in the meantime, we've gotten some more questions. So a participant is asking if you offer any online options for your programs.
Unfortunately, we don't. We're not a distance learning institute. There was an option available only during COVID. As per our licensing in the UAE, we can only offer on-campus classes. And online was only an option during COVID, unfortunately. So unless the authorities give us the go-ahead this September again, which doesn't look likely because the Vice back on the go, we're back in person, we're doing things as normal. We've got concerts that have opened up. Expo went on as normal for us as well. We're looking back to being normal.
Thank you so much. So we have a participant who's asking if there's a specific tuition fee for the science-related bachelor degrees.
I think one of the best things about Middlesex is that all of our undergraduate programs have the same tuition fee. We don't change the tuition fee if you're studying film or if you're studying law or if you're studying business management. So that prevents students from taking on a more, pocket-friendly program, let's say, because all of them tend to be pocket-friendly. We are a really good, affordable UK degree. So if I'm talking about the tuition fee for the undergraduate program, it's 58,485 dirham, which is also per year. And along with that, of course, we give you the early enrollment grants, we've got the school partnership grants, we've got the international study grants, or we've got the academic excellence scholarships. So you will benefit of one of these for sure. So as far as I know, nobody ever pays the full tuition fee because they're entitled to some sort of discount for sure.
That's great news. And of course, a participant is asking if you offer any scholarships. So perhaps we can return to that in case anyone joined later. Thank you so much, Afreen.
No worries, no worries. So we do offer scholarships. These tend to be, again, curriculum specific. So if you're coming from the British curriculum, if you're coming from CBSE, if you're coming from IB diploma, IB cert, BTEC levels, we do have scholarships, even for students who might have done Etistat, which is the Russian curriculum. We've also got scholarships for American curriculum students, as well as K-12, which is the Philippines curriculum. And if you don't come from any of these curriculums that I've listed, we have an international study grant. So this can vary anywhere between 20 to 25%, 30% in some regions, if I'm not mistaken. So the easiest way is place an application, we won't charge you for it, and on that you'll have a list of things that you're entitled to.
Thank you so much, Afreen. So I would encourage participants to keep firing the questions. We still have some time for the Q&A session, and the event is absolutely organized so that you can clear all your doubts and get some insight into the student lifestyle at Middlesex. So while we are waiting for some more questions, I just wanted to ask if you can maybe offer us an insight on what the typical academic year looks like. So in terms of exam sessions, semesters, trimesters, and so on and so forth. Thank you so much, Afreen.
No worries. So we run the academic year starting from end of September up until May. There are 2 semesters in a year, and you have a winter break during December, which is closer to Christmas. So around mid-December up until early January, you're away. You're usually with your family or having the time of your life in UAE. The idea is to give you a break, but you will then have a lot of submissions come up around, end of January, February, and then along with April and May is when we run the examination season. We stop our classes somewhere around mid-April, and then you kind of just prep for your examinations or your final submissions around that time. In this time, you still have access to everything that the university has to offer, including your professors. We do run feedback sessions with your professors as well. So if I'm not mistaken, every professor has to allocate 4 hours at the end of every week just for feedback, or if a student needs to catch up or if they've got doubts. And we do this across all of our subjects as well, which means that it's really easy for you to kind of clear out things that you might be struggling with. Along with that, of course, you've got access to CAS, which is Center for Academic Success, who can walk you through, your day-to-day queries and concerns.
Thank you so much, Afreen. So I don't see any more questions for the moment being, but I would like to ask you if you can perhaps take us through the admission process once again. So just assume that someone in the audience wanted to enroll. What deadlines would they have to look out for? And just give us some more insight on that. Thank you.
Absolutely. So when it comes to international students, we usually encourage them to finish their application process maximum by August, because obviously we have to look at the visa application as well, which can take about 15 working days. And since we start at the end of September, it's a good time to get your application out of the way. We do encourage them to apply as soon as possible because we run a lot of early enrollment grants and discounts that are time sensitive. So in terms of applications, we don't really have a deadline. Up until the university starts, you can apply. But for international students, the visa process can become a catch. So end of August is usually a good time. Along with that, like I said, the early enrollment grants tend to be more time sensitive. The sooner you apply, the higher the grant would be. The later you apply, the lesser you would be able to benefit financially. Obviously, then you're also looking as an international student, you're looking at your tickets. You're looking at, cost to get here, which obviously becomes higher the later you process everything.
Thank you so much, Afreen. So to continue on the topic, I was wondering if you can maybe hand out some tips on how to speed up the application process. So what are some common mistakes that you see that usually end up in a delayed application?
Well, sometimes students don't upload their documents, which is a massive slowdown for us. Or when they're filling out their details about their previous qualification, it's not very clear. Yes, of course, we ask you for your school name, but it helps us to know what curriculum you're coming from, what kind of diploma you're going to graduate with. Because when we have to sit down and do a little bit of research on what school students are coming from and figuring out their curriculum, we can't issue the right offer letters, which means that we have to reach out to you and wait on the documents. A lot of times students miss out on simple things like, English language requirements. It's nice to have them, but you can apply even without them. I think we, more than struggling on the front of students making errors while they're applying, the issue is that sometimes they don't apply because they don't have all the documents. But that's okay, because when you're at the application stage, we don't expect all of you to have recommendation letters. We don't expect everybody to have taken the IELTS or the PTE or whatever English language test you're taking. So if you start the application and give us some level of documentations, we can at least process a conditional offer letter. The other thing that I would like to mention, which I am going a little bit off topic, is if you're someone who initially wanted to study in the UK and for whatever reason has not been able to do it, it could be financial, it could be travel restrictions, it could be the cost of living in the UK, we offer a foreign degree, which means that the degree comes from the UK and you can benefit of taking a transfer at the undergraduate stage into the UK campus. You can actually move in your second or third year. We're more affordable in terms of tuition fee. Our scholarships are higher, so you can save up money in the first 2 years and then transfer in your third year, as long as the program that you're interested in is available there as well.
Thank you so much, Afreen. So I would like to remind participants that they can request their certificate of attendance by Docsity if they wish. They have the link in the chat. And of course, any further questions about the admission process at Middlesex, the academic offering, the student life, why not the job perspective? So, Afreen, I think we didn't mention maybe some career outcomes, and perhaps that would be beneficial to the participants to just know more about the job scene in Dubai and what can they aspire to with a Middlesex degree. Thank you so much.
No worries. So one of the things that I did mention earlier is that we've been around for 17 years, which means we've got a reputation for 17 years. I do get a question about career opportunities all the time because I'm working at the admissions team. And I think the easiest way to understand clearly where our students are is to simply do a quick search on LinkedIn and see where Middlesex alumni are. You'll find them working for big names like KPMG, Dell, Microsoft, Oracle, Cisco. Emaar is a big property owner here in the UAE. You'll find our graduates there as well. It could be with the Landmark Group, which again is a big group here in terms of retail. It could be Majid Al Fatem, which again is a big group here that owns a lot of the shopping malls around the country. So there's loads and loads to look out for. If I'm talking about, PR agencies, we work with most of them, if not all. Our film program is the only program probably in the region that offers a direct internship with Warner Brothers. We also are currently looking to launch the program in such a way where third-year students can upload some of their films to online streaming platforms. So we're in the process of talking to Netflix and getting that sorted out, which will then give our students more exposure for their work. We do work very closely. So you might literally have a day in your class where you walk in and there's a stranger teaching, and the stranger is the manager at Google here, or is the manager at Facebook, because the idea is to get industry professionals to also contribute to your education. You might also receive an email that says, well, we're running a guest session at the Oasis Theatre along with XYZ. And this XYZ can be the CEO of Danube, which is a big property group here in the UAE. It could be the CEO of DMAC, who can give you insights as to how their careers grew and what they've done. So there's loads and loads of things to do. In terms of job requirements in the country, we've seen an increase in number of hiring since after the expo, because a lot of companies have now started basing themselves in the UAE. And UAE is also right in the middle of the world, literally on the world map. We're right at the center, which means that transit is quite easy. There's a lot of diversity. So no matter where in the world you come from, you'll find someone who's from the same place as you or is like-minded to your beliefs and the way of life that you abide by. So there's lots to do around the country, of course, and there's lots to see. There's lots of people to meet. And when you do these things, you have a lot of opportunities open up. With postgrad students, the benefit is that not only do the careers team assist you, but you also are in a classroom with people who are working in the country, in the region, and they tend to become your network connections within industries and within companies as well. So they kind of go on and help everybody around the classroom as well.
Thank you so much, Afrin. So we covered the admissions, we covered the scholarships, the job prospects. So I think we are missing the middle link. So if a participant would like to know how does the dissertation process go. So once they are done with their studies, what does writing a final thesis with Middlesex look like? Like, do they have a tutor? Do they have someone who follows them in the process? Thank you so much.
So one of the best things about our dissertation or thesis is that when, let's say hypothetically, you are taking a dissertation for your psychology program, let's say. And within that, what we do is if we've got students who've got similar topics, we group them together and then they have a supervisor. So the whole idea of grouping them together means that they can help each other. And they can also then report to their supervisor who can have an overview on what direction to take things into. And we replicate that across every single module that has a dissertation or every single program that runs a dissertation. So we group you in like-minded topics where students can help each other out, because the last thing you need to do is sit and write your 10,000, 7,000 word dissertation all by yourself. So having a group means that you've got, you can share case studies, you can share samples, your collection of, data becomes easier as well. Yes, we do have a strict policy on plagiarism, which is why your professor or your supervisor will make sure you're in line with that you don't end up writing the same things. So when we say similar topics, it means, let's say, if there's 5 students who are looking at forensic psychology, they'll work together. Their topics, one might be focusing a little bit more about cyber crimes. One might be focusing a little bit more on, the criminal front of things. Someone else might be focusing a little bit more on the victim of crimes kind of thing. So you might be working in groups, but we prevent plagiarism and we prevent the copying of work because you've got a supervisor overviewing everything as well.
Thank you so much, Afrin, for the insight into the dissertation process. So I was wondering if any of the programs offered at Middlesex include a compulsory traineeship. So do you offer partnerships with any companies in particular that students can get access to while they are studying?
So because the programs that students study in Middlesex University Dubai tend to be very, very streamlined. If I'm talking about the undergraduate program, we're offering an honors degree in 3 years' time. Yes, you might have to do the foundation program, but that's only so you can transition easily from a different curriculum into the British curriculum. But the honors degree or the actual undergraduate degree is only 3 years long, which is already very, very compressed. So more or less, we avoid the take on having students to do internships. But yes, within some of our law programs, that is an option. Within our PR and advertising program, that is an option. If I'm talking about our programs, let's say at the postgrad stage, we may or may not offer some opportunities to work as well. But what we do instead is a lot of different interesting things depending on the program you're in. So the MBA program, for example, has an all-paid inclusive trip where you might be traveling to Rome, you might be traveling to Paris, you might be traveling on a group project to be carried out internationally. Within the MSc Digital Marketing program, for example, you will have to pay a little extra for this trip, but you could be going down to Chicago and meeting with some advanced PR agencies in the US, along with working on a university project as a part of your exchange program for a week. So we do things like that as well. If I'm talking about the tourism program at the undergraduate stage, in their 3rd year, they also take an international trip, because if you haven't really traveled during your tourism program, what can it really be about? And we make sure that your program is very integrated into what you're doing. If I'm talking about the LLB program, whilst yes, you may be able to take an internship, but you also get more work experience by being a part of the mooting society or taking part in international competitions, where you're able to kind of access mock courtroom trials, and we do this both domestically and internationally. So we have had students also travel all the way to Strasbourg to be a part of these competitions.
Thank you so much, Afrin. That was very clear and concise. I wanted to ask, and of course, in the meantime, we still have some time for the Q&A session. So if any participants still have some questions or some doubts that they would like to clear, we are more than happy to help. So of course, Middlesex offering a UK degree. I was wondering if students, get the opportunity of choosing where to graduate, and how many of your students prefer staying in Dubai to work compared to working abroad?
So if I'm talking about the degree specifically, all of them come from the UK. So everybody receives their graduation certificates from the UK. In terms of their graduation ceremonies, you can graduate at Dubai or UK, but I'll be very honest with you, our graduation ceremonies are one of the most elite and posh graduations you've ever seen. So we run them at the Dubai Opera, and we pick an exciting location every single year. If it's okay with you, I might actually be able to share with you one of our graduation videos. Just give me a second.
Please do, sure. Sure, and in the meantime, I would like to remind participants that if you'd like, you can request your certificate of attendance by Docsity. You have the link in the chat. And if you have any further questions about Middlesex, about the programs, the student life, the opportunities that await for you once you graduate, feel free to write in the Q&A box, and we'll be happy to answer them. So, of course, I hope that this event has been useful to all of you. And while Afrin grabs the information, I just wanted to remind those of you who join later that you will also get an email with the recording of this event. So don't be afraid if you missed anything important. You can review that later. So, Afrin, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. So this is just a video for graduation this year. where we had 2 batches graduating. We didn't run an online graduation because we felt like this is just such an important moment in students' lives. So even if it was delayed, it had to be in person with their loved ones. And this is how it went down.
Thank you so much, Afrin, for sharing that with us. It sure looks grand and nothing like my own graduation for sure.
Exactly. And sometimes it's so awkward, but honestly, just watching that video gave me goosebumps because I was there, I saw the excitement, and there's just a little bit of what we can give back to students after, you know, their hard work, their efforts, especially after COVID. We've been running the graduation at the Bio Opera for 2 years in a row now. Everything is grand and it's exactly the way you'll imagine Dubai to be.
Thank you so much, Afrin. So we do have one final question. I was wondering if you can maybe review the admission requirements for the participants that join us later.
Yeah, no worries. So it's simple. You just jump on our website and you right click on the top corner where it says apply now. You will start filling out a form with some details, which will include your academic history, your name, date of birth, passport, things like that. You will then move on to talk about your qualifications, the program you're interested in, and you'll confirm that all the information you provided us with is correct and accurate. You'll hit submit, and as long as you've got sufficient documents, in 24 to 48 hours, an admission counselor will contact you. If they don't have sufficient documents, someone will drop you an email and let you know that we need XYZ things from you so we can take it forward.
Thank you so much. That's all clear. So I think that we are not getting any more questions. So I would close this event here. And on this note, for anyone who joined us later, you will get the recording. So if you miss any important information regarding the admission requirements, the scholarships, the tuition fees, you can review that later on. So Afrin, I want to thank you so much for joining us today and for just giving us your time of the day to answer all the questions that we have gotten. And of course, thank you to all participants who joined us and who stuck with us till the end. Thank you so much.
No worries. Thank you so much for having me. Once again, if you have any queries or concerns, you can simply contact the admissions team. I will drop an email address in the chat box for anybody who might need it later, and we'd be happy to help you.
Absolutely. And on that note, you will also get the contacts in the email that you will get along with the recording. So if you have any further questions, you can take it directly to the admissions office. Once again, thank you all for joining us for this event. And hopefully I'll see you once again for the next event in partnership with Middlesex University Dubai. Thank you so much. I wish everyone a nice day or evening according to where you are connecting from. Thank you and stay safe. Bye-bye.